Right, city clerk, can I get the motion restated just to make sure we're on the motion?
Yes, sir. I can restate that for you. The motion was to request that staff bring back language that offers some flexibility and fines with equity in mind.
Hi, council. You heard that motion. Is there any more discussion? Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. All those against the motion, please raise your hand. All those who object the motion, yes, raise your hand. All those that abstain, please raise your hand. Okay. So I'm abstaining. So I have see what do we have? 3 yeses. Councilmember Moore, Councilmember Marks, Councilmember Schilling. We have 1 no. That's Councilmember Aragon, and we have 2 abstains. It's Councilmember Tosta and myself. So that motion passes. Go ahead, Councilmember Tosta.
So if just minor petty point, but the in the ordinance, the fourth whereas still contains a insert date language. So would suggest that if you're going back through the ordinance that you fix that as well.
City Attorney.
Yes, I'm sorry, because I thought I heard you say that the motion passes. You
Yeah,
do not.
I would say I have 3 yeses, 1 no, and 2 abstentions.
So you would need, well, right now you have, I'm sorry, you have 6. You don't have 7 people right now. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. No, City Attorney, thank you very much. All right, is there anything else that you would like to send to city staff to make sure that this ordinance is thoughtful and brought back or thought through? All right, thank you, city staff, we appreciate it. I'm gonna move right into B now, and this is approval of request for proposal RFP to hire a search firm to identify and hire a city manager.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Forgive me. So you have 6 members right now. At this point, you don't have a majority that's in support. You just have, frankly, the abstentions are essentially the equivalent of no's because they're not in support of. I think
Yes.
This motion hasn't passed with 3. You have 3 that are for, and you have 3 that are not for. However, they're not for is a different issue, but you don't actually have a majority of the councilors who are present in support of the motion that was before the council.
Yeah, because we have 3 yeses, 1 no, and 3 abstentions, which those are washed out because they're deciding not to take a yes or a no. And the way my process of thinking was here is that you have 3 yeses and 1 no, then the motion would pass because we've had 2 council members who abstained. But I may be wrong on that.
Right, because ordinarily you actually don't need to take the count on the abstentions, but that seems to be how you've been doing it, and so we go along with that.
But honestly, this is the first time that we've brought that this vote has been taken and we've had this split. So I would say that I would if there's some correction that needs to be made, then I would be corrected on that as parliamentary rules.
At this point, the trouble is you don't have a majority that is voted in favor of it. You have a split, so to speak. You have 3 in favor and you have 3 that are not in favor. So frankly, that motion
would stay the same as we've done it before, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't please say that again.
So if I have 3 yeses and 3 no's because of abstaining from it, then basically it's the same motion.
You're in the same position where you don't have a majority. And the thing is you need a majority of the council members that are present for this, and you don't have that at this point.
So tell me then that would, then the motion
Fails at this point,
because of lack of a majority.
the lack of majority.
All right, the reasoning that you brought as the city attorney, I can say I can see that position, but let me see what Councilmember Moore, as she wants to make a correction, and then Councilmember Schilling. Go ahead, Councilmember Moore.
I understand that there's, from what I'm understanding is that the claim here is that this is based on precedence, not actual procedure. And I believe that I want to know exactly where in procedure it states that an abstention counts as a no, for one, because it's not my understanding, but of course I could be wrong. So I would just like clarification on that, because abstaining is not participating in a vote. And we have 3 yeses, 2 abstentions, and 1 no's. So if we could get clarification on where it states that an abstention counts as a no vote, I would very much appreciate that, because that's not what I understand it to be. But
I'm
again,
gonna recognize Councilmember Schilling, but one of the things is that it does say in our guidelines that it'll be a majority, and so with that wouldn't be really a majority depending on how it's called. So go ahead, Councilmember Schilling.
I'm following and agreeing with what Garmin was saying, because it's not that 2 abstentions equal a no, or it's not that an abstention equals a no. It's that there's not a majority of people in favor. There's 3 in favor and 3 not in favor in one way or another. So there is no majority in favor of the vote. So I agree with what Garmin has laid out here.
If I could, just to kind of answer Councilor Moore's concern, this one is actually not difficult. In Robert's Rules of Order, this is, unfortunately, I only have the 11th edition. I don't have the 12th at this moment. But at page 403, and this is section 44, it states, since an abstention in such cases has the same effect as a negative vote, these bases deny members the right to maintain a neutral position by abstaining. For the same reason, members present who fail to vote through indifference rather than through deliberate neutrality may affect the result negatively. I take that just to address the idea that the abstention is treated as, perhaps I misspoke, but I don't think I said that it was a no. It amounts to the equivalent of someone who has not voted in favor of. And so right now you have 6 members. In order to have a majority, you would still need to have at least 4 who voted in favor. Right now, at best, you're kind of, I won't characterize it as a tie, but you don't have a majority of the sitting members who voted in favor of this.
All right, Councilmember Moore, I'll let you speak on this, and then I will stand corrected by parliamentary today, and which was our city attorney. Go ahead.
I believe I'm sorry for creating an issue here, but I would love to hear what the new edition of Robert's Rules states on this, because there are updates in the new edition. And I find this kind of contentious, because again, my understanding is that it does not apply as a no vote. But again, I mean, if Robert's Rules says that, but I would like to be basing our operations off the newest edition, because there are updates made to Robert's Rules. So if we're going to be following that guideline, I think that we should be following the most updated version. Perhaps,
I don't have it at this point. So at this point, the one thing that is not going to happen is a vote that is not a majority vote is not going to prevail at this point. It cannot, no matter what version of Robert's Rules, it's still a majority vote. It's not the same. It's not going to be three out of 6. That is not a majority in any way that we do math. So unfortunately, I don't have the 12th edition. If you want to withdraw your motion, well, I think that point is already passed now, but frankly, unfortunately, I don't have another version, but the fact that I don't have another version doesn't get you to a majority vote with 3 out of 6.
So as chair, unless I get challenged by the council, I'm gonna stand with the city attorney and the parliamentary correction. And that last motion failed for the lack of a majority vote. And if that can be in the minutes, please do so.